he's Heisman worthy, but he is definitely a leader on that team. He's a powerhouse running back, and he deserves a lot of credit. He's just not Heisman, in my opinion.
Right.
So, my pick, team that surprised me the most, Kentucky. All right, next.
I need a little bit more time to come up with mine, so let's see if Dan has his.
Tony just commented something. Tony says he agrees with Mike McIntyre for Colorado for coach and Kentucky for the surprise. So,
that's two.
Yeah. Way to jump in on this bandwagon there, Tony. It's easy. It's easy to say, yeah, no, that's what I was going with.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Texas is still on my mind just because, as I said, I definitely had them really ranked poorly. Up with them as far as a team that's, outperforming what I expected. Probably San Diego State.
No, I just love San Diego State. I almost went to school there. Almost. Then I realized I don't like California.
Right.
So I didn't.
Appalachian State's doing better than I thought they would this season.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're way ahead. So I'll probably say Appalachian State at this point.
It's a good pick. They gave Penn State a run for their money.
Yeah, but I got my eye on you down there.
Texas?
No, not Texas is above them, I think, in the rankings, aren't they? Should
yeah.
Be. San Diego. Got my eye on them as well.
Yeah, San Diego State, the Aztecs. I went on a 19-year undefeated streak in NCAA, I think it was 2009, with San Diego State. 19 years in a row. Tony said, I thought Colorado was going to fall back after losing talent. However, Kentucky is only supposed to be a basketball school. All right. Dan Beebe, you have your surprise?
Yeah, I was going to say probably the biggest surprise team for me in college would be Oklahoma. I don't think they'd be nearly as good without Baker Mayfield.
It's a good point. Kyler Murray has proven me wrong. I thought he was going to really not perform well. I didn't think he was going to light it up. I thought maybe he had the ability to play at a high level. I didn't think that he was going to be as dominant as he can be.
Would have been taking longer to progress.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I thought he was just going to be like, you know what? Fuck football. I'm making a ton of money playing for the A's.
It seemed like a lot of people even were sort of dismissing them right at the beginning of the season, too.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are our picks. We got 2 for Kentucky, 1 for San Diego State, 1 for Oklahoma. Now, team that disappointed you the most. I couldn't come up with just one team, so I did the cheat, and I have a tie. So first, we're going to go with TCU. I thought TCU was going to be an elite defense. I thought they were going to dominate on offense, and I thought they were really going to push Ohio State to the very limit of what Ohio State could handle. And they did for most of the game against Ohio State, but it seems like since then they've just fallen flat, just gave up their zest for football. And I did not foresee them playing as poorly as they have. So for me, the first part of my answer is TCU. The second is Wisconsin. I'm extremely disappointed with Wisconsin. I thought that they were going to be the class of the Big Ten. They were returning their quarterback. They were returning Jonathan Taylor, the absolute stud running back, who I think is probably going to be top 3 pick when he goes in the draft. They're just not. They have everything that Odell said about the Giants not having heart, etc., etc. That's what I'm seeing with Wisconsin. It's just they're not the team that I thought they would be. And so my answer to this question is a tie between TCU and Wisconsin. Tony said Wisconsin as well. Is that Zelda? Did I just hear Zelda?
No, you heard my washer. That's the little noise it makes when I gotta change the laundry.
Oh, that's cute.
I got a couple teams that make this list. Boise State. A lot of people were predicting that they would be, very high.
Pushing the boundaries of the playoff.
Huh?
A lot of people thought they would be pushing the boundary to get in the playoff.
Yeah. I don't think I was one of those. I hope not, because that just seems silly in retrospect, of course. But I think everyone thought that they were going to have a greatly improved season, and they are not so far.
Leighton Vander Esch was the glue that held that team together. Now that he's gone.
Yeah. Another one is Stanford. Just Bryce Love. I don't know. We can't really stay healthy. They got checked by one of my most improved picks, San Diego State. They did take out my Ducks early in the season before they really got going, but it's been downhill since then. And a lot of people saw them in the college football playoff as well, and now they might be able to turn it around at least somewhat for the North Division, but I don't. It's nowhere near where they thought they would be.
No, it's a very good pick. They certainly are not what we thought they were going to be, and it's disappointing because they're supposed to be one of the teams that really pushes Alabama, and it's just not going to happen. Yeah. So, Dan Beebe, what have you got?
I also agree, too, with Stanford. I would expect we would see a lot more out of them. I was also going to say Washington, too, because, with Myles Gaskin, we always see them at 2 losses on the season already.
Yeah, Myles Gaskin is a very good running back, and Jake Browning is a very good quarterback. But for me, what I really saw in them that I thought was going to... I'm not as disappointed in Washington because I feel like their losses were to Oregon and to Auburn. Both games that you knew were going to be close. Washington's not a team that's going to blow anyone out. Washington, if they could have their perfect game, they would win 10-0. They would score just enough to be comfortable and smother you on defense. That's how Washington wants to win games. And that's what we see them trying to do. And it's just, they're not comfortable in high-scoring affairs. You've seen that for the last 3 years. They pride themselves on playing strong defense, keeping high-scoring teams to low-scoring, and they found themselves in a dogfight with a real dog, and they came out as the bone. Did you like that one, O'Shea?
I did. I had one more contender, but I don't really know if I can call them disappointing in my eyes, because for them to be disappointing...
Is it USC?
No.
I wouldn't say that.
For them to be disappointing, you have to have had, some kind of hope for them or something like that.
FAU, Florida Atlantic.
No, Florida State.
Oh, yeah, that's... Yeah, I mean, they just got beat pretty bad by the bye week, so...
Maybe didn't wish evil upon them, but I certainly wasn't wishing for them to do well, given the whole Willie Taggart saga. So, seeing them struggling way more than Oregon is cathartic.
Yeah, I mean, you're really seeing a combination of a few things gone wrong for Florida State. Jimbo Fisher leaving, DeAndre Francois being injured, when you come back from an injury, you're hardly ever the same athlete. And Dalvin Cook gone. You mix Dalvin Cook, an extremely healthy DeAndre Francois and Jimbo Fisher, and that team covers up any deficiencies that they had on the offensive line, on the defensive line. And you add in a guy like Derwin James, who can cover sideline to sideline better than most NFL players, and you've got a recipe for a good blanket. It's just those Band-Aids aren't getting rid of the symptoms. They just covered them. So now that all that's gone, you're really seeing the wound underneath the Band-Aid, and now it looks like you got to amputate. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sucks for them, but
as far as like even seeing teams like Arizona State, where you figured they'd turn around with Herm Edwards, that's really
guys in the first year coaching in the last 6 years. I had no expectations for Arizona State. Kevin Sumlin in Arizona.
Yeah, you play to win the game.
Yeah. A lot of new coaches. Scott Frost going from an undefeated team to a team that can't get a win. That's beautiful. Oh yeah, UCF was just a product of Scott Frost. Apparently not.
There you go.
Apparently it wasn't. Whatever. Anyways, so those are the most... Virginia Tech could be labeled as one of the biggest disappointments as well, because all they had to do was play half as talented as they truly are, and they run through the ACC one loss at worst. And they just make bonehead mistake after bonehead mistake. And it's a shame because in college football, your window of excellence is so narrow when you have such a dynamic athlete at quarterback. Unless, of course, you are Nick Saban, who develops a perfect college quarterback who can't do shit in the NFL. So it's unfortunate that these teams are falling on a hard time, especially some really proud programs like Florida State. But someone's got to lose.
Yeah. Or tie.
Yeah, not in college though. So let's move on now. We're at the part of the show where we talk about the Heisman hopefuls. For me, it's a quarterback race. The finalists that I invite to New York, the three quarterbacks are Dwayne Haskins, Tua Tagovailoa, and Mackenzie Milton. I was looking at the stats, and Tony's right. I don't see how it can't be Dwayne Haskins. 29 total touchdowns to 4 interceptions, 2,331 passing yards in 7 games. Shit. That's Haskins with a capital Heisman. It's got to be Haskins.
Yeah, as stats currently are, I'm in agreement with you. The other two players I could see joining, the top ranks are Kyler Murray and Justin Herbert. Homerism, cough cough. But as it stands right now, I think Haskins is far and away the leader. He's the first Ohio State quarterback to have 2 400-yard games. And he's got 2,300 passing yards already.
Yeah, half a season.
He's looking at the potential of a 5,000-yard season. So kind of hard to argue with that.
Yeah, I mean, he's the front runner. Unless you listen to Paul Feinbaum, then you should already, give the award and get down on your knees and suck to his dick. But Tony said obvious Haskins, major comeback in 2 primetime games. Yeah,